What is up, y'all? Happy New Year and welcome back to West Seattle. It's Ben back with you to take my first look at the brand new everything level from Storm. So the level, like I said, brand new everything. The cover's new, the core is new, the idea of what it's supposed to be doing is new, the way it's made is new, everything is new. But before we take a look at this, we're gonna find out what is going on out on the lanes. Today I don't have our typical West Seattle house shot going on. We have a shorter, more difficult pattern. This is the boardwalk pattern, numbers on the screen. The reason being is I have a feeling that the balls on the rack today are gonna be a lot more on the smoother, more controllable, not as much down lane side, and so shorter pattern is exactly what they're made for. But with just one eye-opening shot, this is just my IQ tour, just to kind of show you that if I stand in our house shot spot, this probably won't look amazing. Yeah, so you can kind of see an IQ isn't the strongest ball in anyone's bag, that's for sure. Definitely my favorite ball in my bag, but on something like Boardwalk, it's not gonna fly. So let's get out of that. Let's get straight into hot new stuff with the level. So I have not just one level, but two levels, two different layouts. I'm gonna talk about that shortly. I'm gonna stand in the exact same spot. Probably not where I will end up with a ball like this, but we're gonna find out. I love it when the first time you ever throw a ball, it strikes convincingly. All right, so the level, like I said, brand new everything. RPM cover stock, what does RPM stand for? Regenerative Polymer Matrix, that's a mouthful. I'm guessing, just kind of understanding what the intention of this ball was in design and engineering, that the regenerative part has to do in part with how this ball absorbs oil and gives yourself brand new cover stock from shot to shot. Okay, so this ball hooks. It's also fresh, had never thrown it, so early feedback, impressions, observations of this ball so far as I've seen is that this ball reminds them of urethane. But do know that this is not urethane, this is reactive resin. Does it have a similar aesthetic to urethane? It's looking like it so far, definitely a lot more back end. But let's throw this third shot and then we'll talk a little more. Yeah, it's pretty good. Now, if I were to stand there and throw urethane, a pitch black, an IQ 78U, I don't think it would turn the corner like that. But this is about as smooth of a urethane-like arc as I can imagine on something like Boardwalk, so pretty good. Let's get out to this one really quick, because I do have a second one. This one is drilled differently than this one. Now why? Well, I wanted to kind of see exactly what this ball is. So before I tell you the difference, I'm gonna stand in the same place I just threw that one. Let's see what we got. Okay, that yielded about what I would have hoped or thought. So the difference between the two is, with the first level, I drilled that to be quite a bit stronger, akin to how I might drill a urethane ball. So layout on the first level is about a 4.5 by 40, which is pretty strong for me, whereas this one is a 5.5 by 60. So it gets into its transitions down the lane a little earlier, a little smoother. Okay, great one to see. That one eked it right, unintentionally. And because this one is a little smoother, a little less down lane motion than the first level, it's probably not quite enough to get back from where I'm currently lined up. I'm gonna move 2 to the right, see what we got. Okay, so two things to note about this ball when it comes to its RPM cover. Number one, it is reactive resin. It is not urethane. This whole backside of the ball, the oil is already absorbed in, so it's not urethane. But two, like with any ball, as you throw it fresh off the press, like this one, it will start getting a little smoother, a little more balanced, not as jumpy and responsive. And I think that's what this ball was meant to be. So let's take a look with a little further break in. So typically missing in on boardwalk is not something you want to do. And the reason for that is the ratio of oil, so the amount of oil on the outside of the lane compared to the amount of oil on the inside middle part of the lane, it's not very different compared to like a house shot where there's a lot more oil in the middle and a lot less on the outside. So if you miss in on boardwalk, typically you're going through the nose, Brooklyn, or worse. But that last shot, you see that it pretty mellowed out, gave me some forgiveness. That one was probably a little more where I want to throw this ball, at least for now, so we kind of learn about it together. That looked amazing. Let's get out of that and go right back into the stronger 4.5 by 40 level. Same spot. Now it's had a few minutes for oil to further absorb into the cover, and it's not as broken in as that second level, but let's see what we got. Yeah, it is stronger in every way. It flares more, so that's helping it to read the middle of the lane with a little more conviction. And because of that, it's allowing it to have more shape down lane. You can really see the difference. The sort of like silver white pin starts spinning up all crazy down lane, where I don't see that at the other level. I'm gonna move 2 left on that and know that this is gonna start breaking in pretty soon too. It is still strong. So as I'm waiting on that ball to come back, therein lies another observation I'm having. I don't think that it is necessarily imperative for a bowler to have to drill one of these stronger than your normal. Maybe you do that with urethane, I do. But this one isn't urethane. And so I think you can probably get away with drilling it just kind of like your benchmark style layout. Yeah, on that one, I moved another board left and had my eyes move a little farther right, just to kind of give it a little more runway. It still got back, still threw some pins around. That's something that urethane would never do. And that's something that the second level, the weaker level, the 5.5 by 60 level wouldn't do. And so I think for how I would want to use this ball, stay in the same place here, is in the way that the weaker 5.5 level rolls. Yeah, I would say for me, and maybe for you, take note. I really don't think you need to drill a level like you would drill at urethane. I think it makes it a little stronger than maybe you need on typical urethane-like shots, like boardwalk. Okay, so with this weaker, smoother 5.5 by 60 level, let's move a fair bit right. About 13 right, actually. Yeah, kind of slowed the speed down too. That's about what the idea is when you're throwing urethane on a shot like boardwalk, a shorter, flatter shot. But it does pick up a fair bit more than urethane, which we'll see shortly with the IQ-17. Let's throw one more from there. In fact, slow the speed down a little more. Move 2 left and slow the speed down. Yeah, that's probably what the IQ78 would do too. So out of that 1,000 grit RPM cover, and into a freshly sanded IQ78, which, as you may or may not know, fresh, unoiled urethane usually hooks quite a bit and then dies soon after. Yeah, okay, so what it just did there is not what it's going to do in about 2 more shots. Okay, so I think fresh urethane is getting a lot closer to what it's supposed to do. Let's move back over to where we were throwing that second smoother 5.5 by 60 level. Let's see what we got. Yeah, and that's many times what urethane is for. Shorter patterns, flatter patterns, you can kind of move right, get your target right in front of you, square up. It's not going to get offline too early. It's not going to jump on you in the back end. And it's going to give you feedback through the entirety of the lane, because that's what it's doing. It's reading the entire lane. Slowly, but the entirety of the lane. For one more. Kind of see the speed was a little slower on that one, but it's urethane, so it's kind of going to want to be what it is. And in that case, it's going to be really forgiving. So let's get out of this, because we're really trying to understand this level, which I'm liking quite a bit as a definite option above urethane and below reactive. Okay, so if I stand in the same place, there is no way this ball, even broken in, is going to be right of the head pin. Right? So there is the clearest visual of how this ball is not urethane, but you see how smooth it is. It's not quite your traditional reactive resin. Off of that, let's find out just what kind of board separation we have, at least on this pattern. Oh, and I should preface this shot with saying this is the stronger one. This is the 4.5 by 40. So we are now 5 left of the IQ78 with the stronger of the 2 levels. That was 5 left of the IQ78 and missing about 2 and change right, and that still got back. That's not urethane, that's reactive resin. So let's get out of this one. We'll end with, I think, my favorite of the 2 levels, this weaker, smoother one. Again, I don't find, at least today, that one needs to drill this ball stronger like you would a urethane. Just drill it regular. I think it's pretty good as it is. Okay, didn't quite get around it, but you can see it's a lot closer to traditional urethane with that one. Again, I think this more balanced medium drilled level is more how I want this to be when I want to use it. So I'm gonna move 2 left and slow the speed down just a little bit, and I think that's where this one wants to be. Well, this is pretty close. Throw 1 or 2 more and we'll wrap it up. You don't take a ball like this out of your bag hoping to wheel the lane. That's not what its intent is. This is for, you want to keep the target in front of you, square up, keep your angles safe, feel good about what you accomplished out there. Okay, we're close. Again, on challenging oil patterns, leave your 8-pin, leave your 10-pin, pick them up and move on. You can adjust things like speed, rotation, try to get those out. So for one final shot, let's do that. It's just both. Move up on the approach a little bit, get the speed a little slower, and give it just a little bit more rotation. There you go. Got that 10 out. All right, so that wraps it up. The level, 259027, so a little weaker of a core. Allows us to preserve some energy, which kind of helps. And a cover that can definitely be strong enough to read heavier volumes of oil, medium, maybe medium heavy volumes of oil. But it's not gonna be enough to kind of jump off the spot because it's got that kind of urethane shape. So if you're looking for something that is super controllable for your bag when the lanes get tough, or you're somebody that has a super high rev rate and it becomes difficult for you at times to stay right of the head pin, maybe a level is exactly what you need. It's not urethane, so don't let your teammates get upset at you. Just tell them, it's reactive resin, guys. All right, that's all I got. See you in the next one.